Kyle here from All Media Reviews, here to do a review of the Family Crest concert I saw last night. I also can mention, I'm going to do a separate video maybe later, I got a whole bunch of vinyl I picked up. So, and I have a couple that are coming in the mail, but I'll have to show those later. I think 2 from In Vain. But anyway, so I was just looking at I did a review of the Family Crest show I saw last year at the Turf Club. And it was almost a year today. It was July 11th, it was July 11th or July 12th. So yesterday was July 9th. And I said it was my 6th. I was just counting again. I think it's the 8th time I've seen them was last night. Because it was like, since COVID, I've seen them 3 times at the Turf Club, and I'd seen them in 18 at the Turf Club. So I've seen them at least 4 times at the Turf Club, at least. And then 15, I saw them at the Entry, and that's 6. And then the first time I saw them at the Entry, and I saw them at the Cedar Cultural Center. So I think that's 8. So 7 or 8. They were supposed to be at the Varsity Theater at one point, but I know that show didn't happen. But I did snag a set list. This was Laura's. It was Laura, the keyboardist. She plays flute and sings. I can first say, just as far as the openers go, there were 2 openers. A local opener, his name is Noble. Something Noble. Ron Noble? I just added him. Ben Noble. And he had like 2 other musicians with him. He's a guitarist, singer-songwriter type. But he was pretty good. I mean, I was sort of half like just killing time in the back on my phone and stuff, sadly. I didn't really expect much, but I mean, the second straight year, a local opener opened for the Family Crest at the Turf Club, like Scalise, or now they know as Secondhand Dan, that I was actually pretty impressed by. Now, I don't know if Ben Noble, I couldn't find him after his performance or after the show. I didn't hang around that long after the show was over, but I think he might have some, I thought he might have been, was he on Bandcamp, or I know he's got an album in the works, because I started following him on Instagram, but I was on my phone when I was doing this. He might be on Bandcamp or on there's a Ben Noble Music. Yes, this is him. Okay, he's got a few different records: Bitter Work, Where the Light Comes In, and Whiskey Priest. So but his music, God, there was like one song he played that I was still trying to figure out who it reminded me of, like the Deer Hunter or Oh Brother or someone like that. But I mean, it's like textured rock, really. I mean, like Radical Face maybe, but it doesn't have like the chamber instrumentations. But it was pretty progressive. Interesting how he had J.T. Bates on his record from last year, which the Bates family just suffered, just like my family had. Their father just passed away, R.I.P. But J.T. Bates, who played with Dee McGraw and a lot of other musicians. But I want to listen to some of some of his music after watching the show last night. I mean, it's kind of progressive. I mean, it kind of psychedelic and progressive in some ways. Very kind of groove and blues oriented at points too. So the second opener is this musician who is a trans woman who's from, I think, South Carolina, and folk artist, kind of novelty in some ways. Some people liked her. Let me just get her name right at least. She Returns from Wars, and it was just her. It was a solo. She had a guitar and stuff like that. So anyway, I mean, it wasn't really my thing, but wasn't the worst thing I ever heard. I give her props for getting up there doing her songs. She had a lot of merch and everything. She was like giving a discount and stuff. But so anyway, so I got the new T-shirt I'm wearing from them. But here's your set list. It's just, a lot of times I read these set lists, they just use one word from the song. I was trying to think of the difference. I mean, this is I believe the 8th time I've seen the Family Crest, so I've seen a lot of their music live, obviously through different iterations and different adding to the catalog. But they played a lot of their most recent record from 2022, The War Act 2. they played most of it. I mean, they played "I Sleep with the Windows Open," "In Your Arms Tonight," "The Garden," "Hearts on Fire," "The Tree," "You Are the Beginning," "Pride," "Her Song," and "Cold, Cold, Cold." So they played like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't think they did "We Evaporate." I don't think they did, but we look on the list here. They played like 8 or 9 at least of the 12 tracks on this record. I thought that they were going to play that song in the middle, a love song, or I always thought that should be at the end of the album, but I don't think they did. So we have "World," which is from Beneath the Brine, "Windows Open," "In Your Arms Tonight," "Garden," "Pride," of course, "Hearts on Fire," "You Are the Beginning." "Battle Cry" they did. That's from, I believe, Prelude to War EP. I think I'm pretty sure. And then they did some cover. And I don't know if they were saying it was like Backstreet Boys, but I was thinking there was also like some grunge element to it, but I didn't recognize it. I didn't recognize the lyrics. It says like dirge here. But because Laura and Liam, the lead singer and guitarist, are a couple, and she was just like telling his sort of background and what his musical upbringing. But then something called LDG, "Her Song," "Beneath the Brine," of course. They always play that. There's 3 or 4 songs they've played almost every show I've been to. All 8 of them. They always play "Beneath the Brine," the title track, the opening track from the second album, "Beneath the Brine." They always play "Howl," and they always play "The World." Always play those 3 songs. "Take Tonight," which is from Act 1, the War Act 1, I believe, and "Forward." They always close that. That's the song where they go with the phrase, "We are all in this life together. We are all in this, something forever. Slice," or something like that. "Slice, forever." I forget that might be off of "Beneath the Brine" as well. The thing is that the lyrics for that song, it's like Lionel Richie, or of course the whole Rod Stewart thing. I didn't bring up to Laura this time. I still always hear that from "If You Want My Body, I Think I'm Sexy," with the track "Hearts on Fire." It's very similar. They should do a live medley with it, but anyway. I should know. I mean, someone's like reading what they wrote here, but that part that's from that, I swear, like Al Green or Marvin Gaye or Billy Ocean, some R&B artist has a line just like that. I think it's Lionel Richie. "We are all in this life together. We are all in this slice forever," something like that. It's kind of it gets the crowd involved in the harmony. Let's see if El Jarreau, "We're in this love together." It's very similar. I mean, yeah, we're in this love together. So, but anyway, I mean they're always good. Although I think last night the mix was different, of course. It was the same group. Yuri, the violinist, is touring with them again. You can't really hear her that well. I couldn't hear her that well on that many songs in the mix. The bass player I could hear a lot of, and the saxophonist, who's been relatively new. I don't know how many. He's been on all the tours since COVID, or this is the second time. I mean, I think in 2020 he might have been with them, but been with them a little longer than that. But you know, and the cellist, of course, too. But, I mean, I felt like even Liam's vocals were sort of sometimes high in the mix, sometimes they weren't as high. It's not like his performance was bad, it's just, you know, I couldn't hear him as well. And I was right up there. I went up there. I discovered I can lean against, the wall there, that divider, and it doesn't bother my back. That's sort of, it's almost like sitting. I'd rather have a chair, but yeah, I mean, they got the crowd involved. You know, it was about an hour and a half show, and I mean, all 8 shows, I haven't had a disappointing show. Howell always get the crowd involved in dancing and something like that. Liam did tell a story about someone passing away he knew, and it's like kind of hitting home. And I told Laura about, you know, the day that this album came out. Of course, my cat Latte had passed away the day before, but the weird thing is that, of course, I just learned about. So it was my cousin's ex-husband had passed away, and then my friend's mother had passed away last Friday, and then we had a family member on my wife's side that passed away over the weekend, and last week on my mom's extended family. So I just had like all these like unexpected passings, death, that kind of thing, and he was telling the story similar with my cousin's ex-husband who had an aneurysm. It was weird. I didn't say anything, but I still think of Latte with this record, especially her song. I'd say that her song has become a banger on this record. I get tears. Just it's very getting nostalgic, and I think of the beginning time of COVID, and when we took in our cat Latte, and it's still. I mean, I love having our 2 cats now. It's helped a lot, but I still, losing a pet like that at such an early age, it's just after just meeting him, having him for like 2 years, and then having this thing come out. A little bit like the whole thing with the Dirt Robbins and, which by the way, their album's going to come out in vinyl soon, but with Dirt Robbins and Dead Horse, trying to listen to that right when Coco, our dog, had to be put down. But I don't know, sometimes like happens with albums and music associate with time frames that are both happy and sad, especially it's nostalgic, it's sad, and then the loss of a pet or a family member, it's super sad. But I think that Hearts on Fire, Pride, and her song are like the 3 bangers on this album. But I think, having listened to this again, this is better than Act 1. I kind of didn't feel like that way. I don't think it's better than Beneath the Brine necessarily, but they're a pretty consistent catalog. I mean, talking about bands with consistent catalog, like what Scott from the Prog Corner just did a video on No Bad Albums. Family Crest kind of fall into that, except they only have 4 proper full lengths right now, a bunch of EPs. But yeah, no, they're a very engaging band. As much as it was a little different, it seemed like the sax was really higher in the mix. Also, I think it might be on that song, Forward, or Take Tonight. Pretty sure it's Forward. That sounds a lot like, the bass line sounds a lot like a song from House of Fools' debut album. But they don't know who House of Fools is, but it just kind of struck me like, well, that's like kind of like, that sounds like House of Fools. Very the bass, but by John, the bassist, So yeah, I mean, I can't never not wanting to see them, barring some sort of conflict or financial. I'd like to see them get on some, maybe bigger tours at some point. Have some. I mean, I don't know if people were there. There were people that just go to the Turf Club. So there maybe were. Maybe 200. That might be a little bit generous, but I'd say about 200. I don't know if Ben Noble and any of his fan base were there. I would have liked to have talked to him, but I have to, follow some of his activities. But it just the fact that you see a band, they're able to still the tour, thankfully, and sell merch and everything like that. But you'd like to see them. They did tour with the Deer Hunter. They should tour. I don't know what band would be great for them to. Typhoon would be the obvious one, or someone bigger even than that. Who's the band that's been doing? I mean, if Aji ever did a tour, that would be a great tour, of course. But I don't do exact like chamber together. But I mean, just the fact. I mean, I still will go see them, but it would be great to see them catch on even more. But it is interesting how, while my friend Nate wasn't there, there were, I think, some people I remember seeing last year that were there again this year. I saw one person wearing an older shirt, so they have the continuous fan base. And like 8 times seeing them, they're really getting into the category of like Mute Math, The Deer Hunter, Fair to Midland, Dream Theater, where I have this wealth of experience seeing them live. I should do just a listing list video of the bands I've seen the most live, just to be more accurate. I think I've done variations, and then of course I did the 5 best live bands, which I talked about. Mute Math, of course, was in there, and Fair to Midland. But it'd be just good to see some of these bands that I've seen, excluding local bands, so many times. The Family Crest are now, accumulating that many, hours too the last few years. Although I don't know how many more times I'll see hours, because they're really going to just do residencies now. But I don't know. But anyway, that's about it. I will try to get to the vinyl video, hopefully later today. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.